Hello, I'm John Najarian for the International ICO channel and Monaco Growth Forums, and I'm here with Steve Bassi, the founder and CEO of PolySwarm. I love the name, actually. The swarm part of it caught me, of course, Steve, because, and welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
This is, you say, an $8.5 billion annual market. $8.5 billion markets are wonderful to tap into, and you guys are doing it basically addressing cyber threats and basically problems that every business faces that's on the internet these days.
Absolutely.
So how does a decentralized and blockchain, how does that help you do that? Create that marketplace?
Sure. So every day, billions of times a day across the planet, people are opening files out of email, browsing to URLs, and there's antivirus software out there today that takes every one of those actions on a computer and looks for malicious activity within it. So we're tapping into that, and if you look at the transaction value for each of those times a file or a URL is scanned, we're looking at about a half a cent to a cent and a half US dollars. So we're tapping into that and trying to make sure that instead of giving that to one antivirus vendor as a subscription who may or may not cover you very well, we're distributing it back to the network via blockchain technology to basically make sure that the network always covers you better than a single vendor ever can.
That's what was interesting, I think, because your claim that cyber intelligence market leaves a lot to be desired, clearly it does, or there wouldn't be the problems that there are right now. And there wouldn't be the $8.5 billion opportunity every year. So how does exactly PolySwarm meet that goal?
Sure. So every subscription fee you pay to an existing cyber threat intelligence company today, about 30% of that dollar goes back to the technical audience, their R&D teams, to build features into the product that actually protect their users, right? Our thesis is that instead we should take that incentive and program a marketplace to reward security experts for protecting users. So closer to 100% of that dollar goes into protecting the user.
As far as blockchain and how that really helps, you've already described sort of how the blockchain can distribute around through all the different nodes that are plugged in, how they would address a given cyber threat that might even be a new one, or it might be one that's been applied somewhere else on the planet.
Absolutely.
So that's really the secret sauce of PolySwarm, how you do that?
That is. So the blockchain allows us to redirect small payments to experts who maintain accurate pieces of software that detect threats in any country and really mess with the economics. We've been doing antivirus the same for the last 20 years, and it goes a little bit like this. You start a company in a first world country, hire a lot of really smart engineers to deal with the problem, but at the same time the threat's being produced out of Eastern Europe or other locations, and we're sort of trying to distribute the incentives for defense now. And make sure that they get to the places where people are really seeing these threats come out in their home areas and understand malware as it comes out in their country, and make sure we redirect incentives to them on a small piecemeal basis for them to sort of protect the end users and enterprises who are using PolySwarm.
Obviously, people watching are interested in what your background is.
Sure.
They're probably going to want to hear that you've got a lot of security and cyber threat arresting in your background as far as how you've stopped these kinds of threats in the past, and how now this allows you to do it on a much bigger scale.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Sure. So I was involved in cybersecurity before we called it cybersecurity. I got involved when I was maybe 11, 12 years old. And yeah, very early.
Yeah.
So I've always been following the space. Went and got my education. Was lucky enough to work in a couple research labs with the federal government for a while, and really deeply understand the problem on both the offensive and defensive sides. And so we've taken that, and we were frustrated that we were building all these solutions, these great solutions that solve very narrow problems, but we had nowhere to put them on a marketplace where end users could easily access them and be protected by these narrow solutions that are part of important larger picture, but they had no access to these solutions in one complete package. So that's why we're doing PolySwarm.
Other than just starting as a very young child in cybersecurity, you also, I imagine, worked at some startups and or some pretty reputable folks along the way?
Sure. So I've built a cybersecurity R&D firm, and we've done works for the likes of DARPA, a few casino companies you might recognize, and really involve them to sort of break into their networks and produce solutions that would protect them in the future from the sort of things we did to get in. So we've had a lot of success with that, and frankly, it's great fun.
Tell me what you can about your ICO sale. I mean,
Sure,
are you
sure.
guys in the pre-ICO stage right now?
Sure, we are.
And the white paper and so forth are getting ready out there?
That's correct. Yeah, our white paper is out at PolySwarm.io or .io. We talk a lot about the marketplace and that we're trying to build and how the game theory behind it works in the white paper. Our ICO itself is scheduled for February 6th for the public sale, and we're in pre-sale right now.
Basically, the run until February 6th is, are you going to be at virtually every conference you can get to around the planet between now and February 6th?
Every conference, we've been answering a lot of great questions by chat and email, and we just had McAfee, the company, write a blog post about what we're doing, and they're very keen and interested in the space.
Well, yeah, because you're helping distribute them as well, right?
Exactly, right? Getting them, distribution in areas that they're not there today. So that's interesting to us too.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Steve.
Pleasure.
Folks, I've been talking with Steve Bassi, the founder and CEO of PolySwarm.